Hey everybody. In the last video, I just basically it was just a rant about memory leaks and trying to define memory leaks and trying to get better at um, sort of describing JavaScript memory leaks because they're so different than like C++ or any other memory leaks. So if like you were in college and you learned about memory leaks, JavaScript memory leaks are just 100% different. And then the way you deal with them is just 100% different because in most of those other languages, you have access to the memory allocation. You know what the actual address of memory blocks that are being used, so you can actually check to see if those blocks are still being used, and JavaScript does not, as far as I know, provide it. I once watched a video where some guy had found a version of, I think it was Internet Explorer, where you could get to that information, and it was a very, very good learning experience for me because he was able to point to it and all that and see it. But the thing is that version of Internet Explorer looks, and I remember it was like a 20-part series, and I was literally the only person in the world that watched his last six videos. Um, anyways, that's that. So one of the things that, okay, so another thing I need to mention is we are not building an application here. Like, I don't even know what the application that we're going to build is. This is kind of like if you were building a house and you went out and you saw that they're kind of clearing the land and that they're starting to bring materials in, and you're like, wow, oh, they're going to have a really cool bathroom. Oh, they're going to have a really cool beam that goes across the house. That's all this is. We don't know what the application is. We're still missing massive parts of the application. It, right now the thing that's at the top of my head is, now that we're starting to animation starting to kind of take shape, is import export. But then after that, like, I probably would like to get sound incorporated in this, and then I think all the pieces will be at least delivered at that point, and then, but maybe not. Oh yeah, maybe not, because I also, somehow we need to like wedge like a physics engine into this thing, and collision detection, those sorts of things, right? So there's all kinds of pieces that still need to be even delivered before we can even start the construction of this house. Best case scenario, we're starting to put the foundation down. But with that said, here's one of the things that I want to make sure that I can do by the end of this is make cool animated icons like smileys, that sort of thing, emojis, and two, countdowns. And this is my very, very first attempt at a countdown. And so, as you can see, it goes like this: three, two, one. Yay, we made it. Anyways, so, and as per usual, I'm just going to kind of go over. Basically, we have six meshes. I named them three threes. So that's the first three are three left, three right, three middle, two left, two right, and then one. Um, they are all cubes. They are all one by one by one. There's really no reason to cast and receive shadows, so we could probably have a performance bump by removing those. They're all white. They are all animated. And that describes all of them. They all have, let's see if we go to our, let's close this. We go to our raw data view. So it is kind of nice having a raw data view because you can just see more. But we see that the threes all start at -5, the twos all start at -10, and the one starts at -20. And um, and so if we go to the camera, we moved it off to the left. So by default, they're generally sitting at the 5, but I moved it over to the 2, um, and of X instead of the 5 of Z. And the only reason is because the only animation that's implemented at this point is along the X axis, and this is what it is. So I actually haven't even paused. So yeah, we could actually have control, and we could say, oh, okay, so this is what it looks like at 1.3, at 1 point, at 0.8, and then we can actually use little arrow keys and just step through 0.1 at a time, and then this is what it looks like at 2, and then this is what it looks like 1. So I think this is cool. I really do like it, and then it ends like that. So one thing that I think would be useful maybe is a way to just have it loop one time. Right now I have I have the option of running looping and pausing looping, but I don't have option of saying, hey, just go ahead and run once. So maybe that would be a cool button to put over here. So anyways, code. Let's get to the code. So just a heads up, basically in the code, last time I kind of committed everything that I could that would make sense to commit in a separate, select the package, all those things. I believe I was able to commit the service. But so there's kind of a mix of the previous 3 videos and then this video. After this, I can commit everything. I think we're in a good committing spot. So that means next time I'll be able to just show the actual changes. But basically in the service, because of the way we're doing this, basically I changed from the set animation pairs. There's the set animation pairs. Its job is to create a list of pairs, and the pairs are the heavy 3JS object and then our light object. Our light object ain't so light because we have the forms in there, and I do need to refactor and remove the forms and the subscriptions. So that's going to be a not so fun day, and not so fun. Not that it's difficult, but just that it's going to be like no progress. Okay, so in the update meshes, I added the name, and that was just so the names could come in here. I just neglected to do that before when everything was set up. They were showing up over here because you filled out the name, but and this name gets driven off of the form objects, not off of the 3JS objects. So in the mesh item, so I added the name. That made it to where the name could show up there. So that's good. And then over here inside of the delete mesh, basically I just removed the deleted mesh, and that fixes the memory leak issue that I was talking about last time. And then we call this prune animation pairs. Prune animation pairs, I just got rid of a log file. Prune animation pairs just basically gets rid of any pair in the list where the item is not animated, and where the pair, if the pair was undefined. So if somehow we ended up with something in that pair list and it had a key, but like it didn't have a value, that would remove that. And I actually didn't see that, but I believe I did that because the TypeScript compiler would not compile without that. So this is where I got rid of the X and Y, just hard-coded X and Y speed, and all we have is the calculated X speed. So in here, inside of the animation manager HTML, I just did some formatting. This used to be all vertical. I made that horizontal. And then I made some changes. There's still a little bit too much space there. This is a really good example of a bug that, like, if I was working in a corporate environment on a team and we had a new person coming in, that would be a great bug for them to work on. Very low risk. They could spend all the time in the world understanding, learning, searching through the code and all that, and then they could deliver something. That would be a great first week, like your very first week when you're going to deliver stuff. Where you can bounce around, and if they still haven't figured it out on Thursday, which wouldn't be surprising depending on how complex the code is, you can just go in and save the day at the end and help them, and just have a really good session, pair programming session with them where you kind of can explain everything after they've had a chance to poke around in there for a bit. I'm gonna pause this. Let's see. So CSS is just this stuff. Something in here would have to be changed to fix that issue, that spacing issue. And I'm pretty sure it would probably be in this slider thing. But it could be maybe this slider needs to be pulled out. Who knows? It's simple. It's trivial. Very simple, easy fix. And one of those sort of tech debt, a zero interest tech debt. Like if you did this a year from now, or if you did this today, it's the same amount of effort. I mean, it is easier today because you're in this code, But honestly, if you were gonna go start digging into this code a year from now, because we're gonna start making animation changes, this would be a great first bug to work on. So, you know, and really, how much of a problem is it really? Really, is that really a big problem? Anyways, that would be exactly what I would say in a meeting, and they would probably laugh. Everyone would laugh. It would be positive. Um, it'd be fun. It'd be fun. It'd be fun. So, anyways, in our animation component, this is where we removed everything. Probably should have. Oh, so I didn't commit this because it would have just. I don't. I like my commits to work. So, like, if you pull out down any commit, it should compile. If I would have committed this without the changes that I was going to make down in here, um, it would have not worked because I had sort of a mix of stuff I wanted to do down in there. So inside of the animation items, let me go there. Down there doesn't make sense. So we're up here. This is up here in Animation Manager, and down there is where most of the code is, and this is the animation items. And there's going to be an even deeper down there, and maybe I'll talk about that here in a second. I probably will. It would probably make sense. So right now we have one thing we have one property that we can change, and that's the start X. Um, I mean, that's the X. When we have Y and all that, this probably will be a component that you pull in. So you could pull in the Y, you could pull in the X. It would be like a drop down or something like that. And if you're whatever you're changing, X, Y, Z. Let's see, what other kind of cool things can you change? The colors, the heights, the widths, all these sorts of things that you can change. Um, the this will probably drop down so that when you're looking at this, you're looking at all the X's, all the Y's, all the Z's, and all that. So this will probably be like a drop down that, and you load a different component. Now this would be a very good candidate, and I wouldn't do it, but this would be a great candidate for like routing. So you could just go straight to the one that you want. Now this is just so deep in, and so that I don't see that any advantages, but routing is whenever you're talking about loading things on a drop down or something like that, routing is probably something you should at least give it a thought. Like is there a benefit to being able to go straight to a specific place? So, and maybe routing does make sense because maybe we'll want to add that. Like we'll want to add like over here, I want to see this animation and have a button, and then it takes you to here with the right animation showing up. And the only way you would really be able to accomplish that, or at least the cleanest way that I think you'd be able to accomplish that, was with routing. So up here it said animation slash um, X, or and the property that you want to look at. So, anyways, that's something to think about. I don't think it is really valuable, but I can definitely see that. We basically had these inputs by nature are about 200 long, so they were just way too long for this. So I set the width of it to 60. This is just a unit test. I'm not really doing unit tests. There was a time when unit tests were absolutely critical for JavaScript programs, like critical. I can't tell you how many places I worked where we had thousands or hundreds of thousands of lines of code, and then we would try to upgrade a library, and it would literally take 2 years for all the bugs from that library to shake out. We'd literally be dealing with bugs from that very, what do you call them, outlier edge case bugs 2 years later. And then unit tests having 180, 90% test coverage in those situations, so we're going from jQuery 1 to jQuery 2 or something, would could, if they were written properly, could catch all of those things and would be critical, right? It would make a big difference. But now with TypeScript, if you set up all the strong typings and all that, it catches all of it. So the criticality isn't really valuable. Now, I do like unit tests, especially when you are working with a sort of a broad array of different skill sets and levels, because to get a high coverage, unit test coverage, you have to write your code in very reasonable ways, you know. So like this get pair would be very easy to unit test, because you could just, because it doesn't it, all it you know what you're supposed to get back and all that. Now it would be even easier to unit test if I passed in the dictionary. So if I said so in get pair, if it passed the actual dictionary in, then it's just trivial to unit test, right? Because you know exactly what kind of dictionary you're sending it and exactly what to expect back. um, and then that should catch those things. But you know, maybe this way it might be better. I don't know. I'm having like an internal like growth experience right now, because uh, if someone changed the way the the what is this called, a component attribute state or property of animation form dictionary, if they changed the structure of that and it broke here, that would be very, very useful in unit test. Yeah, that's weird. That's a whole new idea for me. Anyways, let's move on and just put that in the bank to think about later. So we have our update mesh. So now we've entered into a new dynasty. Before, the only place you could update a mesh was in the mesh itself. Mesh, but now you can change it in mesh animations. So like, let's say we want one of the threes to start a little farther back. We could say 7. Let's see, it's catching up, and then 7. So, you know, and that's pretty darn cool, right? So, and this is where you'd probably want to play with that kind of thing. Um, but, you know, up until it just changes everything, right? Because up until now, you could only update the meshes. Um, you could only update the meshes. Let's change that to 4 and 4. You could only update the meshes in the mesh admin. Now you can update it in animation, which makes things like it doesn't make things twice as hard, as complicated. It makes things 4 times as complicated. So you better damn well want it if you're going to do it. You don't want to just do something like that um, for no good reason. But anyways, uh, that is that. Let me. I want to try updating our middle mesh's Y position to 1. Booyah! I think that's cool. Anyways, happy coding. I hope everything's going well, and bye.